Hello everybody. I have been promising you all a walkthrough, a detailed walkthrough of my organization in my studio for some time. And while it's not perfect today, it's a working space, so it's never going to be perfect. So here we go. So right here is my art journaling desk. Theoretically, because it has been so long since I've actually worked in my journal, I'm starting to wonder if I remember how, but the space is ready for me when I get there. Next we have my cutting table. This is my regular paper cutter. This is my industrial paper cutter, and you can see notebooks sitting there waiting to be chopped up. Down here I have my typewriter. It's covered because dust is a problem here. This is a box that is always ready for the thrift store so that I don't have stuff build up. I always want to have a donation box going. And then my binding machine there. And then, so I have a lot of containers, as you can see, and people always want to know what is on the containers, what's in them, what the labels say, and I will go through that with you today. Starting over here, the other thing, let me say real quick, for me it's important to have empty space so that when new stuff comes in, I have a place to put it. Nothing frustrates me more than having stuff and not having a spot to put it. It just makes me kind of crazy. So anyway, up here I've got embroidery pieces, doily pieces, vintage hankies. These are all of my bags that I use for packaging. And this is just index cards. This is a bin for gel printing materials. This is painty paper. This is kind of my one problem area. These are just miscellaneous offcuts, pages from books and stuff that I don't know what to do with. Book pages, vintage patterns. These are like vintage trims and bindings, wooden spools. These are wooden clothespins with sari silk on them. I put in cigar boxes, vintage keys and Scrabble letters. In that crate right there is vintage newspapers. And before I get too far, this up here was for Patreon when I did a year of, every month I did a color themed journal. And I'm kind of debating about if I want to do that again or let this go in a different direction. So I don't know about that. Let me know if you have opinions. Okay, in this bin is sewing bits, lace trims and scraps, trim ribbon and string, cheesecloth. These are braille scraps, empty. These are pretty much full of vintage photos that I don't want to get rid of. And then these are my letters, rubber stamping letters. Tassels and fringe, large chunks of lace, colored lace and trims, wide width lace, thin width lace, medium width lace, rust dyed fabric, sari silks, wallpaper, large random ephemera. These are kind of where I put all my stamping supplies, the cling stamps, the stamp inks and blocks, and the wood stamps. Vintage postcards, found words. Those are my large print books that I cut words out of. And on this top shelf is just kind of my fun, these are wooden game pieces. These are my Monopoly pieces and my dice collection. And these are just some random rolls of stuff. They kind of look cool together. That sewing drawer box is empty. I use it for photo props sometimes. Vintage letters, 2 boxes of those. This is kind of in flux right now, just different things. Library cards, old envelopes, embroidery floss, receipt books, and receipt tickets. These are all flashcards, both of those 2 boxes. This is Tim Holtz and other die cuts. These are foreign word flashcards, and then cigar boxes that will be used for ephemera kits. And then tickets, and let me scoot around here, score pads and small old books and envelopes, a whole bunch of miscellaneous in here. That's, yeah. Journaling cards and pocket filler papers, tea bags, napkins and tissue, vintage maps, scrap photos, postage stamps, vintage checks and receipts, playing cards, that's 2 bins of those, and then game cards and money. We already did that. Labels and photo corners, bingo cards, metal tags, random ephemera, small old, random ephemera, small new. Another kind of unorganized mess that's in flux. These are like some project boxes. And then these are all of my game board journal supplies. And then over here is kind of like books that I pull from for various reasons. These are cardstock, plain paper, sheet music, foreign language paper. These are all like printed papers. These are various vintage forms. And these are like graph papers and accounting type papers, as well as that. And then in my muffin tins are little words that I use for projects. So that's a nice way to organize those. So yeah, for me, it's really important that things are visible. See-through containers are really important to me, and labels are important as well. If I can't see it, I will forget that it exists. That's just how my brain works. So, and then over here is another work surface. This is kind of, it's all got stuff in it, but it needs to be redone, so I'm not going to go through that. Some tools hanging there, and then lots of miscellaneous like paper clips and safety pins and, you know, different things in here. And then all my glues, tapes, that sort of thing. There's hooks up here that could take some more stuff. When I was doing the colored journals, I had different colors of sari ribbon up there. So that was kind of fun, but I haven't refilled that. And then this is more cigar box packing stuff. Those are just envelopes. But this whole thing here is my boho journal pages, and I also haven't decided if I'm going to continue that. I kind of have a project idea that I might be switching over those. And then that's my sewing desk and sewing machine. And over here, there's just like tools and, you know, scissors and that kind of stuff in there. And then these are full of vintage photos and more utility type stuff in there. And then this is all my work surface. So it's ever evolving, because the way stuff comes in here and goes out, I have to be flexible. I mean, I'm not always going to have 30 cigar boxes, so that space is going to look different 2 weeks from now, and I have to be able to adapt to that. And same with the containers, like maybe I use up all my bingo cards, so that container goes away, that label comes off, and I just set it aside for whatever the next thing is that I find. And then up here is just my kind of my globe collection, and then this is a whole bunch of different beads and like jars of sari ribbons and miscellaneous stuff like that. So that's about it. Let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.